Welcome to day 5 of the 12 days of Christmas, a little video series we decided to put together to help you get clear on, what might be holding you back from the life that you want.
I'm Ivana Robinson, certified life and leadership coach. I specialize in helping women own what it is that they really want and give fewer fucks about what other people think about it. I'm also a co-host of Reclaim the Retreat.
And I'm Adelia Aborashade, a financial confidence coach. I help Black women navigate the intersection of travel and money so that they can live life on their terms. I am the other co-host of Reclaim the Retreat.
So, day 5.
This is day 5.
In our last video, we talked about taking steps to live without regret. Because if you're not changing it, you're choosing it, and that's not how we're trying to live. Inaction is a choice, and not a great one.
Live by design, not by default. That's the energy we're going for.
Yes. I mean, we all have dreams, we all have desires and things that we really want for ourselves, but if you are not taking steps towards making those things reality for you, towards making it happen, what are you doing?
This is something I feel very, very strongly about, and maybe it's because of the line of work, or maybe it's because I'm now an internet person and my life is online, and I just think about the folks that are like, that's great for you, but I can't do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh no, baby girl, yeah, you can, but if you're not taking action, you're not making choices and taking actions, then yeah.
You can.
and I say this with love, and I say this as somebody who lived by default for nearly 40 years. I did not make any intentional moves in my life until after I turned 40. And that was bogus. That was bogus on me. So I'm trying to keep y'all from making that mistake for as long as I did. Don't want that for you.
Yeah, I think we're really good at doing the things we want when they fall into the confines of what it is we're supposed to be doing or supposed to want for ourselves. But when the things that you want don't necessarily align with that, at least on the surface, we're made to feel bad about it.
Yeah. The things that keep us from making those choices, taking those actions, like you said about it's often easier to do when how we believe we're supposed to do things aligns. I was just thinking, or also when what somebody else wants aligns with the thing. We feel this freeness to go ahead and pursue that thing or take those steps because it's not going to ruffle any feathers. It's already aligned with this other thing my spouse, my parents, my kids, whoever might want.
Yeah, it is definitely easier for us to explain. And I think how you mentioned, right, that's good for them over there, but I can't. And those limiting beliefs that you are not capable, something is not for you, that you have not achieved some idea of something to be able to go for what you want in this way, those are all stories.
Stories we tell ourselves.
Yes, 100%. I think we also, I'm not going to say we make up barriers, but we make the barriers bigger than what they are or might be. Because we are too afraid to actually own the thing, want the thing. And I say that especially as it pertains to money, right? I can't travel like you because it is too expensive, or I have a family, so I can't do things in this way. And not to say that money is very real, right? In our society and the way it functions, you definitely need it. But have you actually sat down
and done the math? It doesn't cost. Here's the thing. Because this, again, is a personal soapbox of mine, primarily because I talk to women about money. And people are so very quick to say, well, I can't do that. That's too expensive. Well, do you know how much it costs? If you've not sat down and done the math, you've already put this barrier there that's going to keep you from going after something you want. And so it's like you said, it's not that these barriers aren't real, but we're making them bigger than they actually are because we're not informed. We haven't done the math. We don't really know.
Yes. Yeah. I think that same idea goes with time. Of I don't have time to do that, or I will do that later, right? There's more time to be had, and while there are obviously things in our lives that are going to take time for us to put them into fruition or whatever, I would ask you to ask yourself, if I didn't wake up tomorrow, how okay would I be with the state of my life, of my story, as it is right now? And if you don't like your answer to that, it is time to make some changes.
I mean, what you just described is literally why there was such a big life change made for me around the time that I turned 40. I had to confront the way I had been moving through my life, not making intentional choices on some things. And that is literally the question I asked myself. If I did not wake up tomorrow, would I be okay with my life as I have lived it thus far? And the answer was no. So I was like, girl, you got to change something. You got to do things differently. And for me, that was such a powerful realization. I didn't have time to think about how was I going to pay for it, what were people going to say. I didn't have time for all that. I just was like, I get one life here.
Yeah.
And if I don't even get to really go after the things that I want and enjoy, what is the point? So yeah, this idea that we have more time,
maybe.
Maybe.
But do we want to hinge everything on a maybe, on a hopefully, on a might could?
Someday is today. That's what I want you to start saying. Someday is today.
Yeah. So with all of that being said, I'm not taking those steps forward. I feel maybe very stuck, stagnant in the life that I'm leading right now. I'm here watching this video. What do I do about it?
Okay. You've got to get specific about what it is that you want, and more importantly, why it matters. Why is that something important to you?
Yeah. A lot of the reasons we are not intentional in how we move is because we haven't actually taken the time to be reflective of our right now, right? Where am I? But also, what is it that I actually want here? And like you said, we got to get specific. And I want to preface, we mean specific.
Very specific.
Because you can't be decisive or intentional about how you move if you cannot easily name what and why it is you're going for that, or how it fits into the plan, the feeling. I'm all about the vibe. So I'm not even saying you need to have some big elaborate plan at all times, but you should know why you're doing something and feel good about that why. Because you can't be decisive if the outcome is not clear, if the what or the why is not actually yours. Go back to video 3 where we talked about values, what's yours and what isn't, getting very clear about that. Or if the thing that you want or why you want it is not central to your core being. It is going to be very difficult to make those things happen, to go forth in that way and feel good about it, I will say. Not to say that the path itself is always hard, but the emotional journey is going to take more work than if those other things are aligned.
So this actually means, yes, you're going to take some time and you're going to think and you're going to contemplate, but you actually need to write down a list of the dreams that you have for yourself and for So like, what is it that you want?
Yes. And very specifically for you.
Yes, you.
I understand there's a community, there are people you want in your life, but like we're talking about you right now. Like that is our central focus. Yeah, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, and literally make a list of what are your dreams.
And then for each thing on that list, you are going to write down one word, just one,
describes how you will feel once you have attained that thing. Because that is what is central here. I think the what we want can sometimes shift, or how we're going to go for it may also shift, but the thing that really shouldn't is your why. I think about if you want a promotion at work, let's say that is what you're going for. What is it that promotion represents for you? What is it that you will feel when you attain that promotion? And is that something you want, that it feels good to you, that you would be proud to tell people that you feel, or that to take ownership of? If not, there's a little more introspection we should probably be doing as to why either that dream is on the list, or what is it we're actually trying to attain for ourselves.
I think that when you do that last part, if you still have those things in there that aren't quite yours, this is where they're going to show up.
Yes.
Because if it's not your why, it's going to show up here.
Very much so. I mean, I remember back in my Deloitte days, I knew I didn't want to be a manager. I knew I was not cut out for not responsibility, but the type of responsibility and what came with that role. But I also didn't do anything to not become a manager.
You weren't being intentional.
I was not being intentional. I was just on the treadmill, doing the job that I had really well. Doing all the things that you are quote unquote supposed to be doing if you want to move up, because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what else there was. I didn't necessarily have a full picture of how I wanted to be living my day-to-day life. And so I just didn't do anything about it until it became too much. And I was like, oh, I can't do this no more. And I quit. But it was like, I think a couple of years of like, I know that this isn't necessarily the level or the thing I want to be doing, but I don't know what else I want to be doing. So it's hard to, look for another job or make a change in the job that I had when I couldn't communicate that to myself, let alone to someone else. And so it would have been beneficial for me to have taken this time to ask these questions a lot earlier than I had. Just so maybe I didn't have to just quit and be out here like one of those used car things that just be flailing in the wind. Because that was me, very much so. And so I don't want that to be you.
So if you are a journal girly, this would be a great thing to do in your journaling practice.
We're going to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah. As you examine, the things that you want and, how they make you feel, you think about why you want them, and you think about, what have I done toward this thing? You might discover that you're the problem. You're the thing holding you back.
Yeah. You. It is the lack of inaction, the lack of choice, the lack of exploration, right? We've talked a lot about taking action, and you're probably thinking like, oh, I need to take action towards the dream itself. Sometimes taking action is making this list, right? There is a certain level of watching this video, but what are you doing with the information as soon as this video is over? What are you doing? How are you enacting it? What is the step? That is what is important here. And if you are not doing those things, that is a you problem.
So if you're finding that, okay, I am very clear on what it is I want, yet I've not been working toward those, and that, you haven't been taking action. You have been getting in your own way.
We want you to return to that why. And if you don't know what it is, then that is the action you need to take, is to take some time to figure that out. And you don't have to do that alone. Feel like, you want to comment down below, ask some questions. The people who love you in your life, have some conversations about yourself, how you see the world. Ask some of these questions. You may learn things.
I was going to say, you'd be amazed at some of the things that are obvious to other people that you completely miss. So get clear on why it is that you want it. Make sure that you want it. It's one of your reasons.
Yes.
It is not for external validation. It is not because, my responsibility to these people, or that is what someone of my age, my standing is supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And once you have that part figured out, do something. Literally anything. To take your life just even one step closer to what that dream is for you.
For me, I had this moment where I did not like the answer to the question, if I died tomorrow, would I be satisfied with the life that I've lived thus far? And I didn't like the fact that I wasn't satisfied. And so I started to take action. I knew things had to change. And as I was making decisions about, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to pursue, I kept coming back to evaluating all of those decisions based on, is this getting me closer to the thing I said I wanted?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, I ain't do it.
Yeah. That's I think a very central question is, how does this align with the thing I said that I wanted? Or not even the thing, but how does this align with my why?
Concrete example. As I thought about, how did I want to live my life? I wanted a life that was centered around travel, where I was engaged in activities that really resonated with and aligned with my beliefs.
Yeah.
And I found myself married to a person that I could not do any of that with. We had differing beliefs on so many things. It is a wonder we stayed married as long as we did. And so the decision to leave was aligned with getting me the life that I wanted, because staying would have kept me, the things I wanted would have been over here, and that would have kept me over here.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, every time there was a question, I had to ask myself, does this get me closer to what I want and why I want it?
Yeah. And if the answer is not an obvious yes,
then it's a no, don't do it.
It is a no. So, with that being said, please like, share, subscribe. Hit us up in the comments. Do you have questions?
We want to hear what you think about this.
How are you getting out of your own way? That's what I want to know.
That right there. That's what we want to hear from you.
Definitely get on our mailing list at reclaimtheretreat.com. Link is in the bio. Show notes.
In the description.
Description. That's the word. I was like, that's not what it is. Yes. I don't be on YouTube, obviously.
We're going to change that.